Welcome to the Creative Economy Week podcasts. Creative Economy Week is a week-long work festival highlighting the development of the creative industries in Brunei. If you're watching this on YouTube, hello! Today's podcast is sponsored by Progressive Media. I'm Amali Hj Roslin, video editor by trade, producer of films and theatre by passion. In this episode, we will be talking to some of the people behind Brunei's theatre and live performance groups. Basically, it takes tons of preparation to get a 2-hour stage show produced. The work doesn't start when the audiences arrive, the lights dimmed, the curtains drawn, and the show begins. It starts way before, and sometimes it doesn't even end. We'll be discussing the elements that goes into the planning stages, the challenges of show days, and what happens after everyone leaves. Basically, from script to stage. I'm lucky to be joined by 4 incredible individuals who I'm sure will have tons of insights to share. Firstly, we have Insan Mardini, co-founder and chief storyteller of Medley House Productions. He has written, produced and directed 60-odd scripts over the past 13 years. We also have Patera, chairperson of Brunei Amateur Dramatic Society, or BADS. She works as a full-time senior marketing manager for an international coffee franchise. As chairperson of BADS, she oversees the administrative and executive duties within BADS. Also joining us is Kevin Cheong. He's representing BruHaHa, Brunei stand-up comedy group. Kevin is also actively involved with a lot of other things. Being a radio DJ is one, and a host of a movie review podcast. And finally, completing the panel, we have Zuliana Masri, or Jules, co-founder of Salted Egg Theatre, former chairperson of Seeds Brunei, and a teacher. Hi guys, welcome to the show.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
Hey, good morning.
All right.
Hello.
So, how's COVID been doing for you guys? How's COVID treating you guys?
I've not had it, so
That's good. That's good to know. But what about as your theatre groups? Has it been a nice breather for you guys to just sit back and not having the pressure to actually perform or produce a show?
Our last show was actually just before COVID hit Brunei, so that was good. We just was recovering, and then we had that whole break that was kind of imposed upon us that we're thankful for. But now we're ready to work on the next production.
So it was nice that you guys just finished and then straight away have a breather.
Yeah.
So there's no pressure like, when's the next show? When's the next show?
Exactly, yeah.
How about you guys? Insan from Medley House?
Yeah, same. For Medley House Productions, our last show was in January. That was the director's cut, and after that it was the COVID season. COVID break. But the work, like you said, it never ends. Still producing scripts, still writing scripts. Even though during the COVID season. Yep.
So that means that you guys actually have time to regroup and think about what your next production is going to be.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
That's nice.
It gives us that ample time to really refine a script like never before, to be honest.
Nice. Yeah. Because you don't really have the pressure to all right, gotta pick it up this year. Yeah. And
we were actually in the middle of auditions. And then we were just like, should we still continue? And it was supposed to be callbacks, but we decided as a team that it's just better to postpone it because it's just it's early stages and everyone's nervous about it.
Did you not take the opportunity to do a Zoom callback? Because that's what everybody.
No, we just decided to just put the play on hold because again, we're a group of volunteers, so it was also very difficult to keep people committed, and because everyone still had to pay attention to their own families as well. So we were just like, okay, we'll just take a break. We tried doing online things, but I think our day jobs sort of took over our lives, so we just said, okay, we'll just take a pause first for BADS, and then now we're grouping back together, I think. So.
But it's not so much about no, we don't want to do it online because it doesn't have that face-to-face interaction feeling. It's more about
no, it was actually it's not about not doing it online, but I think it was just getting people to get together to want to do something online was actually sort of difficult. And also, of course, it's new territory for us. We've never done an online thing, but we did online Zoom call meetings was great. So that was
online Zoom calls meetings are the best. Yeah, because you can just like, I don't have to drive to work for the meeting. I'm already ready. And lastly, for BruHaHa, Kevin, what are you guys doing amidst the pandemic?
Not much.
Writing about the COVID, I'm guessing?
Similar to Jules, we had a show just before the COVID restrictions came in. That was at the end of February. Yeah. And since then, we've effectively been on break. BruHaHa itself is working on a couple of other projects, like improv, something that we're trying to strengthen ourselves with. I got that wrong. But I think this situation that we're in 2020 is kind of a golden opportunity for us, particularly in BruHaHa, because COVID is, it's in the news, it's in the now, and this is a gold mine of material.
Yeah, exactly.
That is just waiting to explode.
There's tons of memes online. There's like tweets and all this that you can use.
Yeah, I mean, chicken nuggets is out.
Oh, right. Oh, man, chicken nuggets.
That's the biggest tragedy of this year.
Yeah. But they have chicken nuggets in Express. They're amazing.
It's not the same.
Oh, but they're amazing.
Jules, are you paid by Express?
Moonlighting it like that.
You might get for the next show.
Yeah.
Yes, salted
we
egg
already signed the
Express.
contract and stuff. They asked me to mention it specifically.
So that's official. Anyway, all right. So let's start off with Kevin.
Yes.
So like, this is a script to stage podcast. So tell us, how do you guys decide to do a show? Do you guys first start practicing, or do you guys write first, then decide if it's worth to be performed for the public?
Okay, so how it works in BruHaHa is that we plan out the year, usually at the end of the year or in the early part of the next year. And we sort of set ourselves goals to how many shows or how many rounds of shows we want to do within that year. So just as an example, for 2020, what we actually wanted to do was have 4 rounds of shows. But we only managed to do 1, and for the foreseeable future, we won't be able to put on shows in the numbers that we have done in the past.
Yeah.
After we've set ourselves the schedule of the shows, then about a month before the actual show, we sort of prompt our comedians to start writing the material, to start thinking of ideas, and it falls onto them in the first stage.
Okay.
To come up with like a concept for their...
This is individually.
And then we have regular meetups and we coax them and we meet up in groups. And then we guide them through, maybe a short process again of like, okay, maybe you could punch this up and make this a bit funny, or that's not working at all.
Right.
Maybe go back and see how you can make it funnier. And to answer your question, the process probably takes about a month or 2 months and a half
For the actual show itself.
to come up. But as you mentioned, like what actually goes on behind the scenes is that we have a dedicated team of what we call the BruHaHa management team.
Management, okay.
So that includes myself, Zainal Bastaman, the founder, TB and Del.
Yeah.
And we take up roles within the production of a round of shows.
Right.
So that includes the comedian meetups for their material. That includes working with the venue and overall logistics.
Right.
And then that includes things like getting the word out there and getting the tickets sold, etc.
So essentially, BruHaHa is just the 5 of you?
No, it's 4 of us. Yeah.
4 of you. So when you said the comedians, is that anyone who wants to perform, or these are people that you've auditioned or who's gone through your workshop or something?
Okay, so to become part of BruHaHa, what you need to do is to go through the workshop.
Okay.
And then once you've done that and gone through a graduation show, then
show.
It's a graduation show. You become a full-fledged BruHaHa member, and then you're kind of on the roster. So we let you know when the next show is coming up. If you have like material and you want to perform it, then show it to us. Let us see. Let us review it, and then we'll see if it's good enough to be on stage.
Just think to that a bit. So the comedians that perform can rotate, but the management itself has to be there all the time.
The management itself, I think for what we up until this point, I think the management is an essential working part of BruHaHa. But we have been trying to sort of delegate work down to those comedians within BruHaHa who may not be interested in just doing shows,
Right.
but they want to help out with production side, or they want to do ticketing.
Yeah.
That's always an option for them, and we give them the opportunity to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not fixed that the 4 management team members are there because sometimes we have other commitments like work or family, and
So then you can't really work on your materials.
correct, yeah.
Right. All right. So moving on to Medley House Insan.
Hello.
Yeah. So what about you guys? How do you guys decide what to produce? Like, is there a pitching session amongst the team, or is like, do you guys start? Yeah. So how do you guys start a project?
For us, it always is the initial concept and initial idea always comes from me. Usually. So far, it's always coming from me. And for myself, the idea always. I'm always inspired from like current events or anything that is to me very important right now for the society, or from friends, from relatives, stories that I hear that I feel like needs to be brought up. That was how it was for the previous 3 productions that we've been doing for Medley. The one for suicide, one for sexual abuse and harassment, and the other one for peer pressure and drug abuse. Once we have the idea, then we start to appoint the core team. That's what we call them, the core team, the producers, the art directors.
And these are made of
just the 5 of us,
Medley,
the 5 medleys.
right.
Yeah. So the 5 medleys are that's me, myself, Insan Mardini. There's Amira Harliani, Rudy, Danish, and Van. There's the 5 of us, always the 5 of us, the core team. We switch roles sometimes. Sometimes we want to try out as a producer, project manager. Sometimes we want to be talent coordinator.
Nice.
So we switch around to give each other that kind of experience.
So do you guys? Is that a conscious decision to rotate each roles, or it's like, don't you guys want to specialize in one thing?
We do. Sometimes we've come to a point where we find ourselves specialized in certain things. Like for myself, I'm sticking with just directing
And script writing, I'm guessing.
Yeah, and script writing.
Right.
Yeah. So to answer your question, how we choose a script to perform.
Yeah.
It really it usually comes from me. When I have the idea, I'll pitch it to the core team. They like it, we go.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's like, okay, you find the script first, or do you write your script then?
Usually I'll give them like a draft.
All right, okay.
Maybe 1 page.
So that's to be produced for that year.
Yeah. How we plan things out, just like BruHaHa. Usually at the end of the year, we plan out for the next year. We call them season. Yeah. So for example, this year we were supposed to have 4 shows, and unfortunately.
So it's the same as BruHaHa as well. 4 shows.
Only 1 show. It was very demoralizing at first because we wanted this year to be the season of hope.
Right.
Yeah.
Also, that's the theme of the year.
Yeah, it
Interesting.
was. Yeah,
that sounds like a Rent song somehow.
It still can be.
Yeah, I guess so. At first, it was demoralizing, but we have taken it to our own advantage because maybe this is a sign for hope.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said you are on the back end, doing things on the back end now that you're writing script and whatnot. Just give us a brief glimpse that of the 60 plus scripts that you've written over the years, which was since from what year?
That was 13 years ago. So back in 2007, I was still in Singapore. Yeah.
So that was for school work.
Yeah.
So then was that the catalyst for you to want to?
Actually. So 13 years ago, I joined the drama club in Singapore, and I was inspired. I was not an actor. I was no talent at all. So they put me in the script writing team. And I know.
But that's where the most talented people are.
That's where you go. That's where you belong.
I don't know.
I think they tricked you. They were like, this guy's so talented. We need him to write down.
I don't know, man.
He's gonna outshine us all.
Yeah, exactly.
What a bunch of 14-year-olds will know, right?
Yeah.
So I was put in the script writing team, and that was my first time writing a script for the stage. And my first script was called The Golden Goose. Terrible.
Okay. I was gonna ask that, like, how is it?
It was
yeah, okay.
terrible.
Since you did say, you mentioned it was what?
The golden what? The golden goose?
The golden what?
The golden goose.
Goose.
Yeah.
The golden
We're
goose.
gonna need to see like a manuscript.
Oh my!
Someone wants to perform it for their theater group.
Archiving purposes.
It's horrible. No format, no structure.
Ooh, share with.
It was like buat karangan.
Composition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking about golden eggs, moving to Salted Egg Theatre. Being an all-female theatre group, is it always black and white with materials that you guys are writing, or are you guys adopting, or the ones that you adopt to perform?
Right. Okay. So because we're very, very new, we only just started in 2017. I don't have all the structures that like BruHaHa or Medley House Productions having. Like, we don't have like, I mean, you have like four performances in a year, etc., etc. I mean, we're lucky.
Kevin and Insan seems to disagree, but yeah.
But I mean, like, just listening to you guys planning your entire year for us is kind of like, oh, when else are we gonna do this? You know, you make it sound as if we're not like organized, but we are. It's just that we're also very busy with our day job. So, but we want to put something out. So, to answer your question, like, yes, it is kind of black and white when we decide what to perform. When we sit down and meet, we decide, okay, it's always going to be about women.
Yeah.
Always going to be. It's not going to be anything else. And the play has to have, like, you know, characters that are all female, sort of.
Okay.
Yeah. So that.
But there's no like female playing a male kind of character.
We haven't got there yet.
Okay.
I think yet, because
Yet.
we had some discussions and kind of like thinking. Sometimes it's quite limiting to just have, like, you know, a script that is all female. So maybe one day, if we, you know, like, if we have a good play or a good script that kind of maybe has one character like a male, then, you know, maybe we can have somebody dressing up. But it's not come to that yet.
Got hope.
But it will
Year of
not
hope,
be a
year of
male. It will never be a male.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay,
But
never mind.
fortunately for us. So yeah, I mean, we sit down and think, okay, what is a good script or material out there that is, you know, centered around women, and then we pick there. But so far in the three productions, well, the two productions that we had and the third one that we have upcoming. It's all kind of different genre. We had a monologue for our first one that was an original. It's about tudong. Yeah, so we kind of choose things that are like women, but also kind of relatable to like Brunei and
Right.
something that people can kind of relate to. So there's the tudong monologue, and then the last one that we had at the beginning of this year was a short kind of play called Sticky Ladies. It was kind of like a forum where like, you know, females come together and they're supposed to talk about you know, feminism and stuff like that, and things go horribly wrong.
Why sticky ladies though?
Sticky Ladies, it's supposed to be, it was one of those, like, the working title, and we were like, ha ha ha, ha, why don't we make it Sticky Ladies, because, you know, all women stick together. And it wasn't.
It's exactly what you think it is, Kevin.
That's exactly. There's nothing
what you
clever
think
about
it
it,
is.
unfortunately. But at first we thought, okay, Sticky Ladies because of that, and because at the time everybody is kind of like, you know, let's stick together, but not knowing exactly what it means to stick together. You know what I mean? Like, you know, people.
Sticking.
that
Yeah.
makes sense.
So yeah, sticking together. So we're like, haha, Sticky Ladies. But
I thought
Yeah, then
it was like an opposite of loose women.
oh no,
yeah, so-
no, lose women. So
I mean, loose
what do you mean
clothed
by
woman.
lose women? I don't know.
Oh, there's a show in the UK.
Oh, sorry, no,
called
I'm
Loose
sorry.
Women.
Oh, no, sorry. Okay, then I don't.
All right,
Oh.
all right.
Nice.
For the purposes of our audiences, we
Yeah.
should put things in context. Sorry.
It's okay. Yeah. So yeah, and So and this next one is not. I mean, that one was an original. That's something that we co-produced and co-wrote together and co-directed.
Nice.
Right.
Then this next one is because we've just had like an original, and it was actually a very, I don't know how you do it, Insan, but we sit down and write together, and it was, I think, one of the most challenging thing to sit down and agree on what we should put here. So
But do you guys start as performers yourself prior to Salted Egg?
I would say no. Maybe Jackie.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Jackie is one of the
one of the
and the other being.
Dr. Cat.
All right, so there's three of you in Salted Egg.
There's only three of us. So
and your focus is on management, right?
We're managing, we're also producing, we're directing. Basically, that's what. Yeah, this is what I mean by not having structure, because we kind of sit down and say, okay, let's do a play, and then it's like, oh, okay. So halfway through the meeting, we're like, okay, so who's gonna direct this? And so we do, that's how we decide. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. And you ended up co-directing, which is always a difficult feat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. But I think towards the end we're like, okay, maybe it'll be better to just have one person. But we bounce off ideas of each other,
Right.
and so.
Oh,
that's
can
nice.
I ask? Can I ask?
Yeah.
Why theater?
Why
not
theater?
Like
Film.
Why not like film?
Okay, mainly because none of us have expertise in that area. Because it's something completely foreign to us. We wouldn't know even how to go about it.
Filmmaking.
Filmmaking, yeah. So we wouldn't even know. And we like this idea of something. We just like the idea of theater where you perform live and you get to experience. you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So there's always something beautiful about having. And the whole point of Salted Egg is getting all these females to come and watch this play that is hopefully something that relatable to them, that they enjoy. Seeing like maybe a part of themselves reflected, or a part of the things that they experience reflected on stage, and then they go away and that's it. That's the magic.
It's
Interesting. Right.
Yeah.
So that was a good question. Why theater? So I think that's not also my question, but like just want to divert to BADS now. BADS, Brunei Amateur Dramatic Society. So either like I don't really see or hear much about BADS. Just quickly tell us when it started and how it started, and also like for now, what type of shows do you guys put on?
Okay, so BADS is actually, and I think if I say this correctly, I hope it's correct. We are actually the longest dramatic society in Brunei. So we've been around since 1964. So it's actually we've just reached 56 years. The thing about BADS, I think that's different from like other productions or teams, is that we are a society. So that's the first thing. It started from my understanding was actually a group of international school teachers were interested in drama, and then so they started. Because they're seeing each other every day, they started like, oh, why don't we do a drama club, that kind of thing, and then it grew from there.
Cute.
Yes. Sorry, what was your next part of your question?
How do you guys decide what type of what type of shows do you guys put on?
Okay,
Actually?
so I can only speak on my experience from I think about 2-3 years, because that's how long I've been chairperson for. So one of the first 2 years I was kind of like quiet, but then after I went to the Japan Arts Meet, it was the Yokohama Arts Meet, and so it was actually very I learned a lot, to be honest, and I think it was such a great experience. We got sponsored. I don't remember the name, so this is terrible, but you can find it on edited in. It's on my Instagram. Okay, so basically from one of the things that we had this discussion, what was the most difficult thing for us as a society, and it always goes down to finding space to perform. And, obviously as a society, it's not like, we're not rolling in money and all that stuff. We do have funds, but we don't want to, drain it all out.
Splurge.
Yeah. So after I went to Japan, I came across this performance that was done in a coffee shop. It was a book coffee shop, and I was just thinking, yes, why not? Why don't we do it? Like, I think the room was probably slightly bigger than this, and the audience was just one row. That was it. And so we decided, why don't we just do our own show in Brunei? We found someone who was who liked the idea of doing a performance in their space, and it was a dinner show. And basically, we actually did it in 2 months. It was just like, you want to do it? Yeah, you want to do it? Okay, on. That was it.
Yeah.
2 months as opposed to BruHaHa and Medley House a full year.
Yeah, but also like obviously with the society, with they have their goals of 4 shows. Us, we're thinking society. How do we attract members? How do we grow our group? But and it's actually, I think everyone can relate to this. I'm sure we all want to perform, but because no one really wants to take on the production side, so you're like, okay, we'll take on the production side first, so we can train people up, because it's so new. There's no there's no real direct training down in Brunei unless you've had like experience overseas, I think. So that's basically what we're doing now.
Yeah. So that's one thing that is that was a good point there. Like, who does what right? So for like Medley House, it's pretty much straightforward, right? Okay, so you assign people on how and all that stuff. How do you guys feel? I guess this is a general question to anyone who wants to answer. So how do you guys feel like having to put on many different hats? Like, okay, the creative process is like, okay, the writing bit, yeah, that's fun. And the next creative process is the
Directing,
process
producing.
process is the acting,
yeah.
the acting it
Yeah.
out and whatnot,
Yeah.
right? And so like, yeah, how do you guys feel about that? Like having to wear many hats. Like you're also a producer, you're also performing and whatnot sometimes.
Kevin loves it.
Yeah, maybe Kevin. You seem to do everything.
I think how well you take on like the different hats and different roles when it comes to putting on a show, especially with BruHaHa, is how comfortable you are as a person and what you've done in life at that till that point. So if you're like me, someone who has always juggled a couple things, then it comes very naturally. It's like, okay, this needs to be done, and you don't think about, am I going to get credit, or is this something that is going to benefit me? It just needs to get done. And I think it is something that we've all been through. Like,
definitely.
I don't care about, whether or not I take a bow at the end of it. Like, it was all me.
Yeah.
I just want it to be done. And I think it, for everyone that's involved in the creative industry in Brunei, up until this point, like that's been sort of the mentality that a lot of us have. We just want to get it done.
Yeah.
Just over and done with,
But on the flip side of that as well is that because as you know, the employment rate is skyrocketing at this point, really, really high. And then there's a massive influx. Thank you of graduates with BAs, right? Bachelor's degree. So what was my question? So the mindset now is different. Like I want to get into theater because that's probably a job that I can do. And also there's this mentality that's been going around where it's like, do what you love and you don't actually
work.
work. Yeah, you don't feel like you're working. Insan, since of all the four here, I think you guys are the only one that's doing this full time.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that?
We get a lot of people coming up to us thinking that since it's flexible hours, it's creative arts, it's gonna be easy.
Is it? Is it flexible?
Well, that's what people might think,
12
right?
a.m. to 3 a.m.
People think it's like it's a 5 to 9 kind of job, right?
Yeah.
But I will always tell them it's a 9 to 9 kind of job.
Or 24/7.
Sometimes it can be 24/7. Sometimes the creativity comes in at the middle of the night, and you gotta take it.
Exactly, right?
Just like me last night.
You're still writing up until
I'm still
a few hours ago?
Yeah, just yesterday I was switching between 3 scripts. So,
3 scripts.
Yeah, I was writing.
Is that to be
3
produced or just like brain
to be
fart?
produced? Yeah, one for commercial, one for a project, and one for our own personal project. So like thinking that because we're doing it full time. We really put in that kind of energy and commitment to it, and maybe that's why we are able to do we wanted to do 4 shows in a year and more. Actually, we wanted to do more. We get people coming into us just thinking that we want to do this, but it's gonna, when they actually do it, they break down. They break down. They can't handle it. They thought it was gonna be like a specific amount of hours, but it's not.
All right. So it's not for everybody is what you're trying to say as well.
It's definitely not for everybody.
Yeah.
And coming back to like wearing different hats, because we're full time, we don't. Yeah, a lot of us don't exactly have that kind of a training, for handling theater. I don't think many Bruneians have that kind of training anyways.
Yeah, no formal training.
Yeah, no formal training. So we always try to like learn from experience, learn from what we from our mistakes, learn what was successful, what was good, and what was bad. I love my members. I think Medley. There's only 2 of us who are full time.
Right. Not all the 5.
The other 3, they're still having their uni. They're still going through university.
So they can actually put in their time in Medley as well at the same time.
For Medley House, we only work together on one day per week. That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. As for Jules, Salted Egg Theatre, I mean, you guys are usually performing it in a closed show with all female cast, all female management team, all female audiences. So that seems like it's a walk in the park because you don't really have to get as many people to watch it. Like there's no need to make sorry to say, but there's no need to make profit, like massive profit out of it. So what is that the fact that it's walk in the park?
Okay, I wouldn't say it's a walk in the park. But let me just be upfront. I don't think we're here for the money, sort of. I mean, like when we started this, it's not for like, let's make big bucks and start this theater company, that's
Kevin's thinking.
Yeah. I mean, it all started as a hobby, I think. It's something that we're interested in, and we're just getting out of one theater group and just thinking, okay, what other things that we can do, to express like all this creativity and things, and trying to find a direction where, trying to sort of fill in the gap, sort of what else hasn't been done that we can sort of bring to the table. So we thought, okay, I don't know. It's just, I think it's because of like my experience in the past, when I recognize that sometimes some females don't feel comfortable acting on the big stage, in front of like a big crowd or acting with the opposite sex.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, but I know that this person is talented and I know that this person wants to act.
Yeah.
So like, why not give them a space? So I thought that, that's the whole point when we started it. It's not so that we can make money, but of course we have to charge people because it's entertainment is not free. And so sorry, what was your question again? Is it walk in the park?
Is it walk in the park to produce a show for you guys?
In a sense that our like finance is not really like a big
it's not
focus.
a challenge.
It's not a challenge. We have managed to somehow produce plays with the minimal amount of money. We try to make it work like whatever we have. We sometimes take money like out of our pockets as well, like in terms of food, and things like that. But we try to keep like when we looking for venues, we try to keep our venues sort of very cheap. We getting audience, and because it's only just women, right? So I mean, some people might say it's difficult to get audience. But so far it's been good. I think because the cast, they have a lot of friends, and their friends want to come. They want to come and and see them act. It's something that.
But female friends.
But female friends, yes.
Yeah.
So there's always, and we're always trying to widen the net a little bit.
Sticking together.
Yeah.
Sticking together. Yes.
Sticking together. Yeah. On that note as well, like because I've heard that it's for the passion and everything. For bads, do your performers rather, they do it for the passion, or are they just learning, or are they just for the fun of it?
It's actually a big combination of all three. So the thing with our members, and we've had this challenge. There are some people who are doing it for fun, but then we have people who seriously want to build the craft, and sometimes that causes clashes because we want to move forward, but then there are others like, oh no, I'm not taking it that seriously, which we understand for some people, and it's especially frustrating when that person's talented but they don't want to grow their craft. And for us, of course, as actors, if that other person is good, then that's how you improve as well, right? So you play off on other people's energies and you learn from each other.
So that sounds a bit like BruHaHa as well, where it's a group of people helping each other.
Yeah.
So that
yes. I think we've been lucky as well, getting people coming in and thinking, "Ooh, this is," because they feel like it's such a novelty. Like, "Ooh, so only female coming in," and so they that is enough, like for them to kind of like encourage them to kind of like, I don't have any other hang-ups now about performing. So like they give their all, sort of. I think
that's what I thought as well. Like, so does that mean like when you guys are writing it, it's easier to just go, "Oh, let's write whatever we want."
Yes, without worrying that somebody. I'm not gonna get there, but but it's supposed to be like a safe space for women, so that we can talk about like tell stories, like intimate stories in an intimate setting,
act in the way that you would normally act with mixed sex.
Exactly.
Audience.
Maybe some of them might feel more comfortable removing their tudung, for example, if they want to. So it's just and then to hear those stories about women and just they'll do
Especially
it.
in the
Yeah,
Bruneian
yeah.
context
And
as
so for
well.
them, it's
Exactly, yeah.
yeah, it's
Empowering.
I'm trying not to use that word because overused sometimes.
Yeah. So Medley House, right? I think between the four, I think Medley House and BruHaHa, with a little bit from Salted Egg. You guys are the ones writing your original scripts usually. Yeah. So what's the challenges, Insan? So what's the challenge? The biggest challenge with writing a script?
The biggest challenge of writing original script is definitely like that kind of like creative flow, right? Because you're gonna start something from scratch, right? So and usually our aim for a show is about 1 hour,
Right.
So that's about
60
60
pages
pages, but that's film terms, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it usually goes about to like 70 pages, and that's gonna be like on you.
Right.
Yeah. That kind of pressure, and also because we're always catching a deadline.
Right.
So it's always that kind of like pressure.
So
That's the biggest challenge.
Deadline is set by you guys as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So usually we take about like 1 month to write a original script, and then it goes through the process of refining, editing, yada yada yada, all the necessary steps to get your script really workable.
Yeah.
So like I said, the biggest challenge is getting it done. Actually, like that creative flow, because creativity comes in and goes. You don't know when it will strike you. Sometimes it's during lunch. Sometimes it's midnight. Sometimes like for me, sometimes I wake up at 3 a.m. I have this idea. I just have to write it down.
So that's you for yourself. It's like a natural flow. But for someone like me, who's probably like, oh, I've never tried script writing. Maybe I write something that I like, but then like, what if people like know about my life through my writing? Is that something of a fear that you go through as well? Like the fear of
maybe
starting out
in the early phases, yeah. Okay. When I was just starting out script writing, about like in my first 3 years, 4 years, that was the challenge. I have this imposter syndrome back then. So imposter syndrome is when you feel like, oh, who am I?
Right.
Who am I to think that I can do this? Am I really gonna be a good writer? There are so many good writers out there. Is my piece
so
gonna be good?
it's more like what other people are gonna think about you rather than what you're gonna write.
Yeah. So
like they might say, oh, how pretentious is that?
Yeah. That's the feeling back then. But after a while, I get into this kind of like I adapt to it, and I just feel like, you know what? It's my story.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be different from everyone else's. It's gonna be unique from everyone else's, and it needs to get out there. Yeah.
Right. So that's like getting from that, it's unique story that you want to tell. Moving to BruHaHa.
Yeah.
Are the jokes that is written or formulated, are they unique in a sense, or is it unique to that one person, or does it have to be unique to everyone?
I think the best way to answer your question is to sort of preface it by firstly saying that among the four of us here, BruHaHa is a little bit different because the material that we perform is outright comedy. It's stand-up comedy.
Stand-up, yeah.
So off the bat, it has to be relatable, to everyone in that room, to be funny.
Yeah.
That's the pressure there. That's the pressure. To be funny. To be funny.
That is one pressure. Something that we constantly tell our comedians when they're coming up with the material or they're writing it is that it's always the real stuff, the stuff that really happened to you that is really funny. And it's just, adding a bit of salt, adding a bit of pepper to make it funnier, just making it pop a bit more. Like taking myself as an example, the funniest material that I have is, the stuff that involves my wife, like, like things that happen on a daily basis, like, cool. As a married couple, you find out, oh, that's how this works, this dynamic works, and then there are people, half of the people in the audience will be married or will be there with their partners, and then that creates like an extra sense of relativity for them, and then they go like, oh, okay, that's like you.
Is that why also you're only the host usually? And not doing your own set?
That is a safety measure so that I stay married.
Yeah, so it has to be relatable to people. That's
Yeah.
something that Jules was talking about as well, as when you
Yeah.
write, it has to be relatable, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's great that I mean, we also go through that. You know, thinking, oh my God, even if we put here, like, you know, what are people gonna find this funny, or are we just being mean, or are we, you know, it's yeah. I think that's the challenge in writing your own script.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want to add on actually, because I think the whole topic about it being relatable is so important, because that's actually something that we've sort of made a conscious effort to just amend some scripts just to make it more
Yes.
relatable in the context.
For your script, are they written originally or adapted?
They're actually adapted.
Okay.
Yeah, so we just changed some little things
Yeah.
because we see, wait, this is an opportunity. Let's put this in because people, you know, people don't realize sometimes that's why they like something, because they relate to it. I mean, it's just that simple fact, right? You know.
So how much work, time, and effort does that take in like changing elements of the script to make it relatable to the Bruneian context or to the
Sit down and do it.
Yeah.
That's how long it takes.
Yeah.
It's just really that.
Yeah.
Because, no, I think it's easy to put things off because obviously, like for us, we don't have rent to pay, so we're fine.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I think some
Yeah.
people have, So we just take some time together and just go through and just amend just a little bit. We're just doing it slowly, though.
I think it's also we find that important to do because we feel like there is a responsibility to not just invite your friends, but also trying to invite people who are kind of on a balance. Like, I don't know if I really like watching live theater, you know, things like that.
Yes.
And then if you pull them in with your, you know, something that is relatable to them, something that they enjoy, then they might enjoy theater. And kind of like half of your job is done there. If they like theater, and then they're gonna get another friend to come and say like, come on, just watch this. I know you don't really like to sit, you know, watching a bunch of people acting live, but it's funny, or it's something that it speaks to me. Then they bring other people, and then that's how I think that's how it grows, you know. So that's kind of like I feel, and a little bit is a bit of a responsibility.
Relatability is actually one of the main reasons why I chose to write original scripts for Medley House Productions, because I feel like the scripts out there were too far off from how it is in Brunei. So I started to embark on that journey of like, hey, I'm gonna do stories that are here. There are so many stories that we have here in Brunei that are untold. It's really a gold mine of stories here. That's why I chose to write about suicide and sexual harassment in the first two, because I wanted to really get people to know that theater can really help in those kind of areas. There are so many original stories. There are so many stories that are not that are going around in Brunei that we can.
You're not talking about viral
It's kinda-
stories, right?
It's kind of like a confrontation as well.
Yeah.
Like a confrontation with whatever that's happening.
Yeah.
So it's the way.
And I think more importantly, it serves as a reflection of what's actually happening in society, which, let's be
that's
honest,
theatre.
like, here in Brunei, it's a little bit taboo.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe this is a way for you to get it out there.
Yeah. Theater holds up a mirror to society. Yeah, it's a reflection of what it is, and it really helps people when we write original scripts. They start to look, wow, that is how Brunei looks like right now. We have like a lot of audience members who watch our shows, and they go like, ada kan ni? Is there really a thing like sexual harassment in Brunei?
Yeah.
Like, wow.
And it serves as
it's true.
Yeah, take it out of take it out of our bubble.
I'm not kidding you. There were these two guys from my show. They ran out. They stormed out before the second act.
Right.
The second act. And they came back when the thing was over. And they came up to me and they asked me, "Bro, is there really a thing like this in Brunei?" I'm like, wow,
That's great.
So
Job done.
It really helps.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it really helps to show them Brunei. You know,
But what were they doing the entire act two?
and they weren't even there.
Yeah, but what were
Googling sexual harassment.
They were just
in
they were just outside waiting. Yeah, they were waiting for
Consent in Brunei,
This is not for my eyes.
cleansing themselves.
So yeah, that's I think that's why relatability is really important for us in Medley House Production. I believe it's really important for everyone as well. Yeah.
So just like this podcast is just to create conversation, right? We are almost towards the end for a good 15 minutes left. 20 minutes left. Right.
I don't want more.
Yes, let's bring up the F word.
Actually, I want to go into like sort of like a taboo question.
What is taboo?
Taboo,
Exactly,
What do you
right?
mean?
Taboo.
Taboo?
In Malay, is
Isn't that a game?
sugarcane.
stigma.
Yeah. So when it comes to live performances, the one thing that people seem to hate is censorship.
Oh.
Right?
Okay.
Right? So when you want to do live performance, you're like, all right, yeah, let's do this. It's a great script. But then you hit a roadblock, like, censorship, what do they need? Anyone wants to shed a light on this?
Well,
I'll say
Insan?
something about that. All of us in Medley House Productions, we train ourselves to love censorship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not going anywhere. It's gonna be there. It's you gotta treat it as your buddy. If you're
It's
gonna
part of life.
Yes, it's part of your career life.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna hate it, you're gonna bring that negativity into your writing, into your process, and that's
true.
not gonna be good.
That's
so for us in Medley, how we train ourselves to love it is to think it as like a creative challenge.
Right.
It's gonna challenge your creativity. How are you gonna make sure that whatever you're gonna produce, whatever you're gonna create, is gonna be good for the audience, good for yourself, and good for censorship.
So, but that's on the writing side of it. But in the management side of it, I think everyone agrees here. It's kind of challenging. Any thoughts on that, BruHaHa, Kevin?
just like Insan at BruHaHa, we love censorship. We love censorship. We don't treat it as an obstacle or a hindrance. I was talking to Ida and Jules earlier on. And I revealed to them my secret role in BruHaHa, which was that I am the resident barometer when it comes to what may or may not fly.
Essentially, you have to be the boring person in the room.
Yes, I play that role and I do it well.
No one wants to play that, but
But I think what's important to remember is that we are in Brunei, and there are certain things that we have to abide by and certain rules that we have to adhere to.
Yeah.
How I usually explain it is that we're given a box. Okay, you can do anything that you want as long as it's within the confines of this box. And if you can satisfy that, then that's fine. Then you pass censorship. You have a great show, and hopefully you find some success down
Right.
the line. It depends on the content that you're trying to put out there, and
Exactly.
what drives you on whether or not you want to push the boundaries
Yeah.
of that box.
Yes. Yeah.
So from the BruHaHa standpoint, we like the box.
Yeah.
we stay within that box, and
it challenges you
Yeah.
more creatively, just like what
Correct.
Insan
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it pushes you to just think, okay, how do I say this without crossing the line?
Yeah.
So I think
Exactly.
it makes you more creative.
Yeah.
I think everybody here, if you're in the creative industry, you're already very good at self-censorship, right? You're kind of like, oh, no. You start with the worst, like kind of the extreme censor first.
Right.
Like, oh, you don't talk about this, don't talk about this, don't talk about this.
Right.
And then over time, when you look and review your script, you think, okay, actually, maybe that is
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
And we can actually pass this. So it's really about choosing how important is this thing for us to, how important is it for us to put this on stage?
Right.
Yeah.
Is it going to be, it's not just for the sake of like, oh, let's shock people and say all these things and make them feel, but it's about, okay, is this important? Do we feel like it's something that we need to address? Then yes, you put it on, maybe temp it down a little bit if it's too much, but we always think that people are very how do you say
Smart?
it? Yeah, no, but people always say, oh God, but what if these people are going to be offended? But I think people are a lot smarter and a lot stronger than we think they are. you know?
Kevin?
Another thing that I like to do personally, and this is me, is to say something that you're not meant to say
Yeah.
without actually saying it.
Right.
Yeah.
Leave it to them to fill in the band. Yeah.
Right.
You don't have to say certain things, but you could get the message across. Whether or not they pick it up, it's really up to the audience. And I think like maybe
Yeah,
you
the
guys,
silence fills it.
Correct.
Right? You
Yeah.
just kind of like leave it there, and if people know, they know.
or a gesture like
Yeah. Yeah.
that's it.
That in itself is like, okay, if you don't go through the Moha censorship kind of thing, the audience, the public is still gonna say something about it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think for in terms of bads, we didn't throughout the years. I don't think we had a problem doing performances with censorship because our shows were kid-friendly shows. So there was a time when we performed. Like that was the first time I joined bads when I was 14. my first show, there was an Empire, so big stage and everything, and the censorship was there. It was interesting, and my aunt was one of the censorship ladies, so she just.
But that wasn't the role that she was playing. Like, oh, because my
No.
niece is in
She
here.
used just like make sure wear long sleeves. So like that was about it. So that's all the comments that we got, because we were, because again we were very community focused. So especially because of the expats who came from like the UK and everything. So it was, for us, it wasn't really a big thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But having having expats as the what do you call this, the management team or the producers of the show, that didn't play any effect into like them not knowing the cultural norms and whatnot, does it?
No, I think especially because since we're a society, things are sort of inherited. I think one thing that we were probably should have done better at is sort of the handover and sort of sharing the history. And I don't mean this in terms of just censorship wise or culture. It's just like every time you have a new committee, it's everyone wants to start fresh, but they forget to learn the history of what did the other
They just want to make the change straight away.
and it's like it's not about just making the changes. You have to find out what happened previously, and luckily for
Exactly.
us, we have a lot of chairperson's reports, so we're all just reading what's going on.
Oh, you guys have to do reports.
Yeah, I
that
think
doesn't
it's
sound creative at all.
It's totally creative if you need to write what you need to write.
Choose the right words.
You can just make a creative report.
I'll just put a picture. It's 1,000 words.
Actually, going back to your question on whether or not having expats within the group being a challenge when it comes to censorship, BruHaHa has had a couple of expats perform with us. One of which is a British lady, and if anything, she is even more sensitive to like the local culture than any of us are, because there'll be this constant dialogue like, hey, is it okay if I do this and that? Are you sure?
Yeah.
But that is more like,
I feel like they will give
I'm
her
an
like a
outsider.
warning before they come. I
right?
feel like that. That's the vibe that I get. Every time they ask, are you sure you're supposed to do that? I'm like,
supposed to.
who told you these things? I'm just curious.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly, right?
What are the things?
The Google.
I don't think
The
so,
Google,
though.
the
It's too
YouTube.
specific.
Yeah, so that I think it's because that they're outsiders, so they're coming into a culture.
Yeah.
So they have to make sure everything's correct, otherwise they get deported, right?
Well, I think that's pretty
They
extreme.
become
So I don't think
cautious.
so.
No,
Yeah.
no.
That's not something that we warn them about. But, you know,
If it happens,
if that's what you say, Amali, then no, I mean, you know.
yeah, well, yeah. So at the end of a show, everything packs up, everyone goes away, but you're still there sitting around and you're thinking, where does my set go to? BruHaHa, do you guys have that challenge of where do I put my background?
Yes, we do have a challenge. Because we are a relatively small operation, we don't have a venue or a full-time venue. We keep overheads relatively low. It's only when we put on shows where we incur costs. So when it comes to things like backdrops and, you know, if we have any equipment, which we do, like light stands and lights that we have, the team is, you know, I guess open enough to have it at their homes. My house is a part-time storeroom for for most of BruHaHa's things when it comes to equipment and stuff.
Is there any space for other companies?
Well, it depends. It really depends.
but you guys consider yourself as companies, though?
Yes,
Sorry to cut you there.
BruHaHa is a registered company. So
right.
we have a business license. We do operate ourselves as a business.
Just asking that not because I want to put stuff in your storeroom.
But he does.
That depends on my
Yeah.
boss at home. So
Give us the rate, like
Yeah.
per
Yeah.
day, per month.
later, ask my wife.
Right, the material of your jokes. For Jules, do you have any sets that you guys do, or just it's just props and costumes?
No, yeah, it's just usually props and costumes. We try to keep things minimal because of the venue. Again, we don't really have, and we, because we know that there's only 3 of us, and we can't do woodwork or anything like that, and we don't want to spend money on creating expensive backdrops. So we try to keep things minimal. Just put it like a table, a little, just to give like an ambiance, like a carpet and stuff like that. For the last production, like at the beginning of this year, we had 4 bean bags and a table.
That's the set.
That's the set, and then we have a black cloth. Just to cover the boards that we had to separate the stage and the backstage. And then we had Sticky Ladies Forum.
Nice.
Which, I got my friend to make and stuff, yeah. And that's it. So when we disassemble, when we take everything down, it's just that, so.
Right. Bads, like your comedy cafe is literally, the backdrop is literally the cafe itself.
Yes. We were smart. We're like, we know what to do.
Yeah.
We're going to save costs.
Smart.
we don't need to bring anything.
It's a
Comedy cafe. We'll set it in a cafe.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Let the people bring it to us.
Brilliant.
But have you ever gone through that problem? Or is that why you don't want to do big shows?
No, we definitely we do want to do big shows, but I didn't handle the bigger productions before, but I know it was an issue. For example, we had stage doors, and I think at one point we actually lent it to Stipri to use, and there
Stipri being the school.
Yes,
in
Stipri
Bandar.
being the school in Bandar, and there was a few other things as well. So some of our stuff got scattered, but I think what's also nice is we inherited a lot from the previous committee. So, for example, we have stage lights for rent, guys.
Yes.
So
Nice.
yeah, but I mean, it has been a point of conversation, but it really is just we need to find someone that we can trust. We put our stuff there. So if anyone would like to give out their house for storage purposes, yeah.
Just head over to BruHaHa.
Please send email to...
Code, don't forget to set code. So, like, I think Medley House has the biggest stage usually. Like, so how do you guys tackle that challenge?
For our previous productions, we've got beds, doors, tables, and whatnot, right?
Where you guys actually sleep at the set?
We use it for our first show to really just set up the bedroom for the victim of the suicide. When we strike down, where does that all go? It all goes back to where it comes from. It's coming from like the bedrooms of someone, the living room of someone. But right now we do have a proper storage space. So
Kevin, how much?
Very nice.
Because
Share contact.
for our postponed production, we had a postponed production. It's about a post-apocalypse Brunei, post-apocalyptic Brunei. We brought in an old car. We brought in.
What do you mean brought in an old car?
We have someone who has a garage and they're not using this old battered car, so we brought it into the stage, to make it look post-apocalyptic. So we brought in that old car. We brought in oil drums. We brought in crates. So where does that all go to that storage house? Except the old car. Except the old car. The old car goes back to the garage.
You mentioned like there's the beds come from someone's bedroom.
Yeah.
So that becomes like a famous bed then. Like,
Yep. It's that bed.
Oh no.
So it becomes a museum piece. People come in.
Yeah, and we'll be
this
like,
bed was used for.
Once we get like an office space, maybe we'll like bring in that bed. Yeah, this was from the very first production.
yeah.
Are you guys? So everyone's willing to lend their stuff for free, or do you guys end up having to pay some of them?
Because it's coming from us, the core team. Usually it's free.
Yeah.
But we do
Like the battered car.
the battered car free.
But the cost is in the transport, isn't it?
Yes, the cost is in the transport. But everything else, like what everyone else is doing as well. We're trying to cut off expenses. Trying to keep it minimal. Yep. That's pretty much it.
I see the future. No, I just see the future. I think we should all definitely have a Excel sheet full of lists of what is it that we can lend to each other.
Yeah.
And, we should totally do that.
should,
and then it's $5 for the link.
Business.
Right. So that is a great idea. But yeah, so just to finish off, I think our session here, I think starting with Kevin, do you think the industry is ready? I mean, do you think the theater or live performance sector is ready to become an industry at this point, or what do we need to do more?
Personally, I don't feel that it is ready to become an industry, like a full-fledged. We provide employment, we provide opportunity. We're not there yet. I think there are two key factors when it comes to this. One is that as a whole, the population in Brunei is quite small. Let's not kid ourselves about this.
And the pie is small as well.
Not really.
Really?
I wouldn't say the pie is small. If you were to look at BruHaHa and the things that we've done with regards to our shows, we have people who come back because they kind of know that, okay, maybe I'll get something different from this show. And then they realize, oh, it is different. It's like new material like every couple of months. So I don't think it's an issue of like a pie being small, but in terms of the population, we feel that we've maybe hit a critical mass. Like, this is the max that we'll be able to do.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be able to pull two of these shows back to back. Maybe one will be full,
right.
maybe the second one won't be.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant when it comes to like a small population.
Right.
In terms of like just the population in general. The appetite is there
Yeah,
when it
definitely.
comes to performing arts, more particularly when it comes to stand-up comedy. The second thing that I want to touch on is that, again, I don't feel that it's ready for as an industry because in terms of, I guess, support from maybe relevant authorities or maybe other bodies, it's there. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we're not getting support, but you see other countries and what they've been able to achieve. Like you have, for example, places like Australia, New Zealand. They have like government bodies like Screen Australia. That, that
Or even
provides
NGOs actually.
yeah, they provide funding and they nurture certain industries. We don't have that. We have directives. Like we have like this is the aim, and
Yeah.
it's up to you to get there. But no like solid plan to get there.
So you kind of need like a council kind of thing, like a creative council or just a theater for a start. that
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thing.
So something along those lines. yeah.
Right. So do you agree with that, Ida? Like, do we need that Excel
Definitely,
spreadsheet?
Yes. One, whoever has a theater, please lend it.
Oh, that's great. Theater association, like
Yeah.
for props and stuff.
Props, costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what Kevin is saying. It's really a long road because even like, to be honest, like, okay, so us as a society, most of us we were not friends. We like came and were like, oh, okay, so these are the people who are passionate. Like, even in my immediate circle, I don't have friends who are passionate in theater, and just trying to get things done and trying to get more support. You run out of places to sort of ask for help. And I think the other thing as well is the assumption I feel that people have for theater right now is it's easy to do. It's just
Yes.
you're just acting on stage. But they don't realize about what is it that we're trying to deliver and what a great show really, how great a show could be if we were able to maximize our efforts.
Right.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah, yeah.
But so in moving towards that as well, that is, I think that's where everyone comes in here as well, is to contribute to the sector, to the community somehow.
Just to add on to a little bit, I think that once until we're ready to put up shows night after night after night and getting a steady income from that and have full house, not necessarily full house, but like a
Medley
good
house.
number,
like a steady stream.
like a steady stream of audience who there's always this fear. I mean, I don't know if you guys have to, but we do. We're like, can we even fill 100 seats? Like we're just, it's always like a worry, and unless that is no longer a problem. If people, if we have a theater culture where people go out to theater for like,
Right.
a night out and stuff, I think until then, I don't know if it's possible to make this like
An
the
industry.
at the moment. But I think it's heading towards that direction. I mean, if you have full timers who's working on it, improving it, I think we're
That's
slowly
something.
getting there. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you're the ones who, you guys are the ones who's like making sure that you're dedicating all your time trying to improve and refine the
Absolutely.
craft, Yeah.
And I totally share your thoughts there. With us having that theater culture. But Insan, you have to do more work for us. Just kidding. But generally for everyone. So I think like everyone, we're running out of time now, but I mean, just to, just to wrap it up, like we tend to choose the exact same date or weekend.
We
for
know
our
why
shows.
that is, though. We know why that is. Yeah.
Okay,
There's this
so
unspoken.
Okay, just one more minute. Yeah, one more minute. Yeah.
so for Comedy Cafe, we purposely did it on a weekday as well for an
Smart.
hour because. And it was, we were lucky that weekend. Suddenly there were so many events. The reason why is we were targeting people who just wanted to go home by 9, sort of thing. And it was just a night out. That was the thing. And, we wanted to surprise people like, oh, this is how you could spend your evening rather than just have dinner. It's why not a theater dinner, that kind and
Nice.
all that.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice.
More.
All right. Well, yes. As I've said, we'll be wrapping up there. So I think, that's it. That's all that we can fit for this episode. Oh, no,
Thank
4
you.
hours and stuff. I would like to thank our guests, Kevin,
Thank you.
Aida, Insan, and Jules for giving
Thank
us an
you.
insight into your processes and sharing your thoughts and opinions and how we can move forward and develop this sector. And kind of hope that we could dive more, but obviously one episode is not enough.
Yeah.
So we might. So Insan, do more podcasts for us. Okay. So like I said, there's definitely tons more to talk about, but for now we pass the conversation to all of you out there. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Creative Economy Week podcasts. If you missed out on the other episodes, check them out on the CEW, that's CEW YouTube channel for the full video, or Progressive Media for the audio experience. Don't forget to follow CEW on Creative Economy Week on Instagram or whatsnew.online/CEW, that's WHATSNEUE.online/CEW for new content on the daily. On behalf of the team, we would like to thank Progressive Media for sponsoring the podcast series. Again, thank you Kevin, Aida, Insan, and Jules for your valuable insights. Before we clap off, where can people find you guys on the socials? BruHaHa.
On Instagram at BruHaHa Comedy.
BruHaHa.
Yes. That is how it's spelled. Yes. BruHaHa Comedy. Yeah.
Jules, Salted Egg.
IG Salted Egg Theater.
Salted Egg, that's Salted Egg Theater.
Yeah, salted egg.
Insan.
Medley House Productions on IG. So
On IG.
MEDLEYHOUSE Productions.
PRO. And lastly, Aida.
You can find us on Instagram at Bads Drama.
That's BADS Drama. All right. And that's it for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you.